Smokey Uncuffed. I'm Brian. On this podcast, we'll talk about law enforcement, social networking, platforms, and just life. Okay, and as you guys on YouTube can see, I've got a guest today. This is Brandon Eddy. You've seen him before. He's a deputy with the Murray County Sheriff's Office. And if you didn't catch the first one here, it was episode 10. Go back and check it out because you can hear all of his back history. And so, what's up, man?
Not much, just trying to get this pandemic and the protest that's going on. It's totally different from the last time I was here. There's a lot of things been going on in the world, which you're retired and things are changing quick.
They are changing quick. I gotta be honest, I don't miss it. I don't wish I was back in it. It's just too crazy right now. Before we jump into law enforcement stuff, let's talk about some social networking. You're rolling on YouTube now.
Yes, it's rock and rolling. It's growing by the day. You know, every now and then it seems like there's a pause, but here lately it's been growing really fast.
And I mean, when you were on here before, you've been on here a couple of times before on my CNC channel, and it was just American flags, like you guys can see right back here. These are American flags. This is how he started. He has since changed it to Rustic, Woodwork, and Family.
Correct. Added the family in, and we do a lot of family stuff. Just basically everything that we do is all together as a family. So it kind of turned into a family channel. There's a lot of things that we're wanting to do in the future, and hopefully it takes off here soon.
Right, including moving out in the country, right?
Yes, getting some property and just raising the kids out in the country and teaching them how to grow their own things and just
Absolutely.
take care of themselves.
And you got 4?
Yes, I got 4 kids. I got 2 boys, 2 girls.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's outstanding.
Yeah. There's never a dull moment. There's sometimes that you want to pull out a lot of hair because you can clean that house spick and span, and the very next day it is like trash.
The next day, 15 minutes later.
Yeah, it's terrible. So that was this morning walking to the kitchen. I guess one of the kids got up and decided they want to get them a pop and spilt it all over the floor, so my feet are sticking. So it was a nice morning to wake up to.
Well, you can't blame that on kids. I still do that stuff too.
Right.
So with all this that's going on, the protest, I don't know if you saw my last episode. I was laughing because there was a post on Facebook, or no, it was on TikTok, and this officer got on there and was talking and said, "So I came to work today and I've got a special assignment. It's a protest." He said, "Which is fine. I like protests. They're fun." He said, "Unfortunately, it's a protest for defunding our police department, but they needed a police presence."
Yeah, see, that stuff right there, I don't understand because, I mean, law enforcement needs to be there. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of bad apples, but that's where the good apples need to stand up and overtake it, and make the bad ones, reveal them, and try to get them out.
And if that's what most people need to understand. Good officers will weed out the bad ones. Eventually, they'll say, "Okay, look, he's the problem.
Yes.
We need him gone."
That's kind of the deal. Is we're a small department, and as you've seen on some of my videos, we talk about trying to get body cams, and I think we're at the stage that we're getting ready to get body cams for all the deputies, and that's just to protect us and to protect the citizens as well. With this day, you just don't know what's going to happen. A little simple welfare check can turn into a shootout in a heartbeat.
Oh, absolutely, and y'all go to all the houses. That's something else I don't know if I've really conveyed it to my people. Is I worked for the highway patrol. 98% of what I did was on the highway. It was on a roadway. Traffic stops. Now, we did a lot of backing up. I would back you up on stuff, but I wasn't in the lead. This is your show. I'm here just for you. That was the only reason. I didn't have to deal with the actual frustration.
Yeah, it's especially in the situation going to domestic violence. You just never know which way you're going to get attacked. I mean, you're trying to protect this guy, and the woman comes up, or then one of them realizes one of them's going to go to jail. They both get upset at you, right. And that's going into a house. It's a lot different than a traffic stop, and I would prefer traffic stops before a house because you're not aware of the house. And you never know where that person's going to hop out, and it's crazy.
And what they've got where.
Right, and with some of the places we go, we deal. I mean, we're there once or twice a week, and we got to learn not to get into the being comfortable going there because at one time it's going to turn out bad. I was actually watching a deal this morning. I think it's out out by California, but they had went to a mental health call, and they talked to the guy, and it was very good. You know, they just keep it down, and then they go back about 3 hours later, and next thing you know, they're in a huge shootout. 4 officers shot, and it's a bad situation. So you just never know the situation. You never know what's going through their head.
Oh, I absolutely don't. And the funny thing of it is you guys go do that, and that's your everyday. That's your everyday for you, is going to these houses and dealing with this stuff. And you can get frustrated enough on traffic stops.
Oh yeah, it's because, you know, a lot of the domestics and stuff is you got to listen to both sides of the story, and you got to make sure you make the right judgment call on who is the escalating, or if they both, you know, they both go to jail. It's rough.
And being that on traffic stops, you initiate the traffic stop, so it's you and them, and they better listen to you. That's the way a traffic stop
Right.
works.
And you can see the people in the car, in the house. You don't know how many people's in the house, and there's so many things can change really quick in a domestic situation. You know, there's so many issues with mental health out there right now, and that was part of the deal here in Oklahoma to change some of the laws to get rid of some of the people in prison to put money into mental health. And I have not heard one mental health place opening. If anything, they've closed mental health places. That people out there needs help. There's just nowhere to get it.
I mean, where do these brilliant pieces of idea comes up? Let's empty a prison so we can help mental health.
Right, and that's the deal, because the same people we deal with day in, day out, I mean, a lot of them are in jail at least 2 or 3 times a month.
Right.
You know, so we get to know them on a regular basis where, I mean, we interact with them, talk to them, and it's just
Easy,
it's just an everyday deal for them.
That's the old wink killer weenie dog in the background here and there. So away from that stuff, I mean, that stuff's doing what it's doing, and there's not a lot we're going to do about it. I do know in Oklahoma that they're looking at trying to yank down our land run statue, which I understood took 20 years to build and $6.2 million, but they're wanting to yank it down. And there are a group of citizens that are armed and going to guard it. And that's supposed to happen Saturday,
Oh wow, where's that at?
Oklahoma City. And
Oh.
I don't blame either side. I don't know if I agree with citizens getting out there, because they are putting themselves in a spot with guns. And that could be very volatile. And I'm just, again, I'm glad I'm out,
Yeah,
because that's the kind of stuff I'd have got called to go take care of.
correct. Y'all get first line of it. I'm kind of glad I'm down here in a little small county, because it's totally different when you go up there. Even the last time that OHP got called up there for the last riot, or
Oh,
whatever,
yes.
where they burnt the van and stuff.
The deputies, it was the jails van. That's
yeah,
what it
the
was.
jail's van.
That whole stuff, and to be honest, riots in Oklahoma, they have gone down. They're not as bad as they were, and there's still protests. But I think everybody's kind of getting that we got to be civil about this, or else you're not going to be heard.
Right, and I think that's how you're heard, is to be civil about it. But you know, the whole deal with I was really surprised when Trump come in. You know, they was expecting a lot of riots and stuff, and you know, but they actually, the law enforcement and army actually marched down the road, and I mean, they got cheers and applause. I was
Right.
really shocked about that. And it's good to see that. And like I said earlier, there is bad cops out there, but it takes the good ones to step up and reveal them, and you know, get them out, because there's bad doctors, there's bad everything out there. But unfortunately, in our profession, I mean, we're held to a higher standard. I mean, there are certain times that, you know, you do have to take people to jail, and there are the ones out there, you're going to do what I say because I'm a cop and blah blah blah, right or wrong, and them are the type that
Right.
doesn't need to be in the
It
job.
usually runs into real problems whenever you take that stance, because you still got to hear them regardless of what. Even on going back to traffic stop, even on a traffic stop, why were you speeding? I always
Right.
ask,
Right.
what if you were speeding because your mom's dying at the hospital, and I'm going to be the guy to tell you to drive speed limit? Well, I'm not going to tell you to speed, but I'm going to say, slow down, I'm going this way.
Correct.
And what you do from there on, I hope you're safe, but I hope you get there in time before mom dies. I mean, you've got to use, there is some gray in law enforcement and people don't see it. You have to look past some stuff so the right thing can be done.
Right, and it, you know, there's an incident, and this is, I'm not going to say any names, but in this certain deal that happened, this gentleman was locked up in prison, and his child had got killed in a car wreck. he was due to be released in 9 days. They refused to let him go to the child's funeral, and that person, that warden, has to answer to that when that final day comes, because that was the very last time. I mean, not only 9 days, and when them 9 days showed up and he was released, they let the family come up and pick him up, and he said, I don't understand.
That's the point when you got to have the hotline of the governor and say, okay, look, let's just give him those 9 days.
Right.
Or we've got a free deputy or a free jailer, take him to the funeral.
And that was the deal. They went to governor. They knew a lot of high people, and he was a new warden, and he wasn't having it. But I will have to give it to the people inside. They allowed him to participate in the funeral as best as he could in the situation.
Oh,
and it's good to see that there's good people out there in the bad situation, because I always said that just because the people are in jail doesn't mean they're bad. They made a bad decision. The only difference is you just got to learn from your mistakes. And the last few of my live videos have been talking a lot about domestics, and we've been dealing a lot with domestics, and it just makes me sickening, because there's young children that sit there and watch their mom and daddy beat on each other. And I had a 6-year-old over the weekend, and I said, I'm sorry that you had to see this. And she was like, no, this happens at home all the time. I'm like, well, all the time? She was like, yeah, I'll just get my baby brother and sister and take them in my room and we watch TV.
What's sad, you're making a 6-year-old make an adult choice.
Correct. And, that's like my kids, sometimes they feel like, they got it rough, but I mean, they don't even have a clue.
No, they don't.
You're always going in with EHS and, taking kids out of some homes, and that's rough, but they need to be, just because the way they was living inside the home with all the dirts, the roaches, the lice, the bed bugs. I picked up a baby over the holiday weekends, literally was ate up with bed bugs, and it's just so sad to see, a child go through that. I mean, that ain't right.
That's not how it's supposed to be.
No.
And to that child, that's the way of life.
Yes.
That's just how this world is.
And, don't get me wrong, with all the stuff that's going on in the world, it's come across me multiple times that, just hang it up. But it's things like that kind of keeps me going, because if I'm not there to fight for the children, who's going to be there? I know somebody's going to be there, but I want to be there to fight for them and make sure I help them out in every situation, not even the children, the mom or the dad, whichever one is the abused in the domestic. And
that does go both ways.
Yes, it does.
I have seen them where the woman beat the guy constantly because he refused to hit a woman.
Correct. And I said that the other night, is no man should ever lay his hands on a woman, hit them full blow or whatever. Here's the deal. Woman coming up, I can promise you can defend yourself without knocking her out. But as you say, I've took just as many women to jail for domestics as I have men.
Right.
And it goes both ways. So.
Okay, so we talked about domestics, some law enforcement stuff. So let's just jump back over there in social networking real quick. And we've talked about how your channel's growing. And I've got 2 things going here. I've got Smokey Uncuffed. I got Smokey CNC Woodworks. So what's your best tips and plans on how to make things grow?
Going into the growing, obviously, if starting a YouTube channel, it's more than just building a name and making videos, because obviously anybody can do that, but you want to make your videos look halfway decent to draw people in. But if anything, I would probably say if you watch channels, be sure to leave a comment and like and share. That seems to help grow a lot of pages.
Yeah, the lot of comments, it gives YouTube it makes them see that you are being watched a lot and that people are really interacting with you, and so they push your videos more than what you would if you got 0 comments.
Correct. Yeah. The more comments you get, the more the algorithm they push it. Starting off, I will say it's hard, not unless you had a jump start like I did with Brian and Daniel and Dutch. That was my jump start. But me starting off is getting up there now. I'm able to help some of the smaller channels, and that's the whole deal about it. Is if you start a channel and you get up there, I just recommend just meeting a lot of friends and helping each other and because I mean they may know people you don't know, and it's good.
And we're on Smokey CNC. I totally cheated that because I simply go through and I find channels and I'll go, hey, you got a cool logo. How about you let me cut that on my CNC channel?
Right.
Just for give me a shout out on your channel. Somebody I can get a few subs from your channel. So that's how I cheat. I mean, it's an easy one. It's a no-brainer. I'm sure you can do the same with your flags.
Yeah, I have actually. The last month, I bet you I've sent 5 or 6 around. Just the channels here in Oklahoma. Just some of them. I mean, they're family channels. There's the Payne family, the Walker Farm Fan. I have such a problem saying that name. It's Cassie with Walker Farm Fan. The awesome channel. They actually have what I want to live on. They live out in the country. They got their animals, their kids, their teachers, and that's what I want to eventually get to with my kids, and just kind of like get out of the world. After being in law enforcement, you just try to, when you get home, you just want to be away from everybody.
Here's where I'll give you hope. Once you retire and you get to do what you want to do every day for, I don't know, say 6 months, you finally get to go, you just get to relax.
Right.
Because there was a time whenever we would go to town, I hated going to Walmart, I hated going to the grocery store, and there's a reason I have a beard. Is for the minute I went on vacation, I started growing a beard. Within a month, people weren't recognizing me at Walmart, and it was awesome. I could go in there and I didn't have to talk about the wreck last week. I didn't have to talk about what happened in the interstate. I didn't have to talk about what the PD was doing. I didn't have to talk about
Correct.
it. Now I don't mind talking about it because I'm removed from it.
Right.
And so it's not as big a deal to me. Now, and so see, now you're stuck here, and you're having to talk about it even on this.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the deal. Like talking this is things I want to talk about. It's the ones when you're at the restaurant and eating with your family, and they walk up and they want to know what happened, and it's kind of like one of those deals. This is my time with my family. Just let me be with the family. And same thing with Walmart. I've had people come at me in stores and very angry with me, and as an officer, many officers out there know that you and your families come up with code words to separate inside stores,
right.
And we'll meet back at the car after the situation. It's really rough on the family.
After Dad takes care of this,
Yeah.
I'll be out.
Yeah. It's really rough, for the family, especially in the job. I was watching Good Simple Living the other night. Well, a couple nights ago, and he actually turned in his badge. He was in for 14 years, and his wife said something that it really made me think if my wife thought this. She said that all the late nights she waited for him to come home, every law enforcement's wife or spouse knows they can go to bed once they hear the Velcro pull. And that really clicked. I mean, and that's true.
It really hits home because at 19 years, I just one day out of the blue came in and said, I'm thinking about retiring at 20 years. And my wife matter-of-factly said, you are.
Right.
I hate your job, you are. She said there's a reason. Early on, whenever I started, I've only been married for about 6 years. And so I've known her for about 12.
Uh-huh.
I've dated her for like 5. I was a little slow, what can I tell you? And she told me year one, I don't want to hear your stories. I just want to know you made it home. Call me when you get home. I just want you to know you're there. I don't want to hear how the fight went, how close it was you got ran over, the gunplay you had. She said, I don't want to know any of it.
Right.
And so once we got married, she told me later after we'd been married that I could always tell when you'd been in something. You had grass stains on your pants, your knuckles were busted up.
Right.
I knew you'd been in something, but you were home, I didn't care.
That's right. I don't know. That just kind of like just clicked with me. Once you hear the Velcro, and here a couple weeks ago, we had a couple officer get killed in Tulsa.
Yes.
in a shooting, and that was a bad situation.
And another one actually there were 2 of them. They had made a traffic stop on this guy, and I think it was just like a regular traffic stop. And the guy started being disagreeing with him, wouldn't want to get out of the car, so they went to get him out of the car. The guy grabs a gun and shoots them both in the head.
Correct. And then he gets out and stands over top of one of them and shoots him.
Shoots him again, and
Yeah.
that one died there.
And
The other one, did you see the news last night?
uh-uh.
He is walking,
Oh, wow.
talking. He's actually recovering. I mean, it's
awesome.
it's an amazing deal.
It is, and that's the deal is, they cut out live PD. They don't show cops anymore. And I really hate that because that showed the public the live PD is really what law enforcement's like. I mean, that is the real stuff. I mean, you see a lot of the funny scenes and stuff. We see a lot of funny stuff. We see a lot of bad stuff, and I hope eventually that comes back, because I think with taking that away, people won't really understand our side of it, or
Right.
what really goes on and the real emotions behind it, because there's a lot of emotions in a lot of these calls.
Well, the biggest thing, I think, the biggest loss on that is the public gets to see how quick you got to make the decisions. You're in that pursuit. You're doing 100 miles an hour. You're making the decisions this quick.
Right.
You're getting out of the car. You're rushing up to the car. All the decisions are like this.
Correct.
And so, yeah, you can make a mistake.
Yes, very easily.
I mean,
And that's once again, I agree, all officers should have body cams, because when that adrenaline's pumping, you're not going to recall everything.
You're right.
The incident we was on yesterday, we went down there, cleared it up, and I went back down there to take a look around, and there was a four-wheeler parked there, and I'm like, holy cow, that wasn't there. Where'd that come
Right.
from? And got to look and replay my body cam. It was there. I just never noticed
didn't
it.
see it.
I just did. It was crazy.
And unfortunately, we can't talk about the thing yesterday. I happened to be privy to some news still, so we'll just leave it there. It was kind of a big mess, and it's still an ongoing investigation.
Correct. Yeah, and that's a lot of things on my channel. Is I talk a lot about law enforcement stuff, but unfortunately, by the time it makes it to the channel, it's been like 6-7 months past, because the case is still going to trial, and I'll show a lot of those videos just to show, if it can help somebody in a situation.
So right there, if you're still missing out on some law enforcement stuff, I do advise you to go over to Rustic Woodworks and Family. He does have quite a few pursuits on his channel, actual pursuits that he was in.
Yes, there's been several, and then we're finishing up court on a couple more, and there's one that's fixing to come up that's probably on. I actually had body cam and dash cam on it, and it's a pretty
Gonna be an
amazing deal.
interesting one.
And lucky nobody got hurt.
Okay, so from that, I'm going to run over into another little law enforcement deal. Just a little question. What is the craziest call you've been to? And I'm talking like domestic-wise. I'm going to give you a couple of mine.
Okay.
My first one I've already talked about on here. I got called to a knife fight on the turnpike, mile mark 11. And you know what you'd be thinking? Yeah, whatever. They're knife fighting in the Bardage, really.
Right.
I get a half a mile from it, and these dudes are going to town on each other with knives. I mean, they're just swapping back and forth. And when I pull up, they start walking down the road side by side like they're best friends. I jump out of the car, said, stop. One runs south, one runs north. And like any normal person do, I figured, well, that guy's fast. That guy's not. I'll catch him.
Right.
And so I caught the slow one. So I caught that guy, went to jail, in which the more of that story, 9 months later, I got cussed out by another trooper because the same guy tried to run him over with a car, and the trooper shot him.
Oh wow.
Didn't kill him. Shot him in the liver. Guy lived. Everybody else bleeds to death. Bad guy lived. I mean, this guy was a true dirtbag. I mean, he'd been in and out of prison all his life. Always in trouble. Domestic stuff, violence. Okay, so the second one. I'm running around, and I think my dad was riding. Somebody was riding with me that night. They just wanted to come ride. And local PD, Sulphur PD, got called, and they had like 4 officers working. All of them are on domestics. We were going to one that had 2 officers at it just to help them out. And the call comes in, 2 subjects fighting with chainsaws. And I looked at my dad and said, we've just changed our call. We're going to that one. I want to see that.
Right.
And no kidding, we pull up, both chainsaws are right in the yard. These guys are out in the front yard fighting chainsaws. That's probably the craziest domestics I've been on.
Right. The domestics, I don't have any that crazy.
But I look at them as crazy because I don't have to deal with it.
Right, and
I'm just the helper.
I'm sitting here trying to remember some. I guess I've got a mental block. We deal with so many of them. None of them really stand out. Like the murders and stuff like that, they stand out.
Right.
And that's another thing. Kind of going out of the subject is, as a cop, I've really done everything a cop could ever dream of. I've worked a murder. I've been in pursuits. I did everything other than be in a shooting or shoot somebody, and I don't care to do any of that.
And that's seldom ever our dream.
Right.
I actually made it through 20 years without having to shoot anybody.
That's awesome. That's my biggest fear.
I've got about half a dozen where I thought, this could go either way any second. And it just didn't. It went my way.
Right. And I mean, that's my biggest fear, is to have to do that, because not only the situation you're in, but then you got to think about you just shot this guy, and he's got family too, just like you got family, and just he is having a bad night, or
Right.
it's just crazy to have to think about it. But you got to have them special people that's what they do, snipers and stuff.
Well, and we've got one that's not far away. I'm not going to mention his name. He's a trooper. He's in the county north of us, and been on exactly the same amount of time as me. I know he's been at least 6 shootings, and it's just luck of the draw. They find him.
Yes.
One of which he left the house, was out of his house for like 45 seconds, and a guy pulled over with a shotgun and took a shot at him. And now the pursuit's on. Then the shooting starts at the end of the pursuit.
Yeah.
And of all people to get in a gunfight with, this is the wrong guy. He is the most tactically trained guy you're ever going to meet. He's been in war. I mean, he's actually been over in war.
He was actually retired when I come on, but I have heard many stories about him.
Oh man, he is crazy.
I've heard one up on I-40 up by the casino up there. They was after this guy, and this guy that they was after was a military guy, and he was a sniper. And the way they said
he rolled out with a 300 blackout.
Yes. The way they said he took off rolling and ended it, it's just amazing. Yeah, I mean, he's just that's his calling.
My hope one day is to get him on here.
Oh well,
and we'll have some stories.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, them people like that. And here's the deal: by no means I know he didn't wake up that morning, hoping I can, shoot somebody today. And I can promise you that no cops like that. That's the last thing I really want to even do. Have to draw my gun.
Well, and to help you, he's still on. He's not retired.
Okay.
He went to the U.S. Marshals for a while, and to know him, he's the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, help you in a heartbeat on anything. It's just people seem to find him want a gunfight.
That's the wrong one to find, I can promise you. But it's like him. These days you're seeing officers want to move up in the department, or they're getting out. Just because of the situation. It's happened everywhere, and you can't blame them. Because I don't know when things are going to calm down. Even that we live in a small community.
I don't think they're ever going to back the way they were.
No, I don't think so. I know the whole George Floyd deal. There is no police officer in this world agrees with anything that officer did, and I hate that this started everything off. By no means did that officer have any right to do that. He needs to stay in prison the rest of his life, because that's not what we do. And I did a little research on him. He had 18 complaints. He'd been involved. And yes, I do agree that there needs to be something set up. If you get terminated from a department, you ought to have a tag with you, the reason why you is terminated, so you're not just passing, a bad officer or whatever to the next department.
Next smaller department, right?
And right now, it's like that. And and the reason why I'm saying that is I do not like bad officers. I will call them out. And if I do something wrong, I want it to be passed off to another department. But it's going to take time. Everything has to start at the bottom, and we have to start just like as a child. If you raise your child with responsibility and respect, he's going to have respect and responsibilities when he gets older.
Correct. Absolutely.
But if you let him do whatever he wants, he's just going to do whatever he wants and think he's get by with it.
And it's okay. Yeah.
Right, and that's kind of like law enforcement. If you work at a department that lets you just, go out and do that, you don't have to answer to nobody, you're going to have some issues. And sometimes them problems get so big that it's hard to get rid of them.
Yeah, once they've got them so far and they've covered it up enough,
right.
So now if you let me go, I'm bringing you down
Correct.
with me.
Correct.
So now we got real issues.
Yes, and that's when you start seeing the cliques, and then the whole department is, just all clique. They all got dirt on everybody, and
And nobody can operate under those conditions. Because now you're looking over both shoulders.
Correct.
And ahead, trying to see what's in front of you and what your guys are doing to you and what the bad guys are doing to you.
Correct.
It just encircles you.
And that's my deal is when I finish the night up, I want to know I can go home and lay my head down without worrying I did somebody wrong.
Right.
Because as a cop, you do have a lot of authority and a lot of power. You can take somebody's rights away by locking them up for doing their crime, and I want to make sure I do it properly and follow the guidelines and the laws.
Correct. Absolutely. Well, we've been going a little bit over 30 minutes here, so I'm just going to finish this up. Man, thanks for coming in or coming over. We're definitely going to have to do it again.
Yes, I enjoy doing this. It's just always the same deal, trying to find the time with everything going.
Well, it's that for you.
Well, yeah, different. I've got my hands in a little bit of everything, trying to do the YouTube and building the flags and just a little bit of that, and then a 40-hour job. It's kind of hard sometimes.
I know. It's a juggling act the whole time, and 4 kids.
Yes, yes.
Don't forget about that part of it. So guys, if you guys haven't gone over and check out Rustic Woodwork and Family, you absolutely have to. If you're interested in some of his flags, go to rusticwoodwork.org.
Yes.
And you can pick up one of his flags. He customizes them. He has all different sizes. I think this is a mid-size that you see back here behind me. I've had it for a long time, but you definitely need to run over to his channel. It is very family friendly. He does a little bit of everything. He does his woodworking. He does talk about law enforcement. He's raising a garden. He's fixing to start raising chickens. He has drug dogs. His kids go fishing. They go magnet fishing. Am I missing anything?
We do a little bit of everything.
I mean, you do a lot of stuff.
It's always, there's never a dull moment for sure.
No, it's good and changed up. So if you guys hadn't checked me out yet at Smokey CNC Woodworks, the big old shirt I'm wearing there, and I'm always wearing, that's where I do some CNC woodwork. Run over there and check it out. If you like it, sub. If you don't, I get it. It's not for everybody. Please don't forget about Smokey Uncuffed. Go to www.smokeyuncuffed.com. I have all of my podcasts on there. I've got links to various things that I do and my t-shirts too. And please don't forget about Smokey Uncuffed on YouTube. Run over there, check it out, and sub if you like. So guys, that's going to be it. I'll see y'all and hear y'all next time.